The dream of many immigrants around the world is to sometime make it in the United States because it's considered to be the land of opportunity. And for many reasons, and uh, if many people, it is, but it's not for all people. And it's very easy for someone coming from a different background to get blinded by all the light and the sparkle around. As the Americans would say, it's easy to try to follow the Johnsons next door. Big house, big car, fancy phones, etc. So rule number one is don't try to follow what everybody else is doing. Now you might be thinking, how will I make it to the United States? Maybe you think a good solution for you is to just come here as a student. One thing that you need to be very careful about is that universities in the United States are extremely expensive. And especially for out-of-state students, which if you're watching this video, I'm sure you are, it can be detrimental. The cost will just crush you. And if you don't have a good background, financial background, or you don't have any scholarships, it will be extremely hard for you to make it and pay off that loan, because it's not only the tuition cost that you need to cover, it's also the living cost that is, depending on where you are, it can be from $1,000 a month to a few thousand, especially if you want to follow your fellow students into all the activities. One thing also that you will know is that the American universities, depending the subject, are not always the best option. I know that in my field, interior architecture, they're very basic. They're more like decorating schools more than actual interior architecture, and they call it interior design. So I mean that tells everything. The one thing I would suggest to do is, if you guys try to make it here, it should be after you get your first degree. So you should already have a bachelor degree before you move to the United States. You will find that master's degrees are equally expensive as the bachelor's degrees when it comes to the annual payment, tuition, but because it's only 2 years, you can make it with half the money and you will still make it to the country. Now, is it your best bet to come to this country when you can choose so many? I would say, depending on who you are and what your background is and what the life path you have chosen is, it might be, but in many cases it is not. And why is that? It's not because the country and the people are not great. It's because the way of life is so different from what you guys have probably been used to. You're not accustomed to be so independent, most likely. You come from a Latin American country, you're coming from Asian countries, you're coming from European countries, unless we're talking Germany or some Northern European countries. The individualization, the kind of perception that people have about their lives is very different than what you're accustomed to, and this will hit you. You will find that many people are very gentle. You will find that it's easy to talk to people, but at the same time they all have a bubble, and you can have a drink or two with someone and see them the next day and they don't even remember who you are. That's not always the case. I have many good American friends, but at the same time, keep in mind that if just because somebody might be nice to you doesn't mean anything more than having a good time at that time. So very different. It is also fair to say that even though the salaries are much higher in the United States on average than many other countries in the world, that doesn't necessarily mean that you will actually have a better lifestyle than other countries. I can tell you by experience that back before I had a degree and I was working as a waiter in my native Greece, I was making, I want to say, about 1,600 euros a month, and around 1,300 of those was mine to keep. Where in this country, I make a whole lot more, but I have less than that every month. This is because the taxes are so high. Right now, I don't own a home. I do have a daughter, but I'm divorced, so my wife is claiming my daughter on her taxes. So if you need to know how to play the tax game in order to, have more take-home money, and sometimes you can, sometimes you cannot. So that's a hard reality here. Taxes are very high if you don't know how to play the game, and for the first year or so, I'm sure you won't. So, or you're not going to be able to. It's really important to understand where you're coming from, what your situation is, and try not to follow the examples of many Americans. Not only you don't have their background, they have been here all their lives, they know everything, they know how to play the game, how to play the system, but also that doesn't mean they also know what's right. I know many people that make even more money than what I make, and they're all in debt. They drive nice cars, they have big houses, fancy phones, and in the end of the day, they have big payments. They lose one job, they basically destroyed. They don't get a monthly wage. They have financial issues. What you really need to try to do is try to bring everything to zero. Now, when you move to a new country, the natural tendency that all immigrants have is to try to connect with other immigrants and try to create clusters of people of, it's what you're feeling comfortable with. It might be a religion matter, it might be just a background matter, it might be even food is different. The one thing I would strongly suggest to anyone is don't get clustered in your own with people of your own background. When in Rome, act like a Roman. You're in the United States. That doesn't mean you should copy everyone, but at the same time, why are you in this country if you just want to follow your ways? If you just want to follow the way that you were doing it at home, stay home. So me coming from a Greek background, I came to the United States. I did meet through the years a few Greek people, Greek Americans, first, second, third generations, but it's not like we're best friends. You guys need to find people that you have common interests with. It might be people from work, it might be people you just meet in bars, whatever that is. But try really to be multicultural. That will help you a lot, and it will take you a long way in your life in the United States. Because one thing I found out is that even though people with the same background tend to be very helpful in words, I had many people before I moved to this country, and they were saying, whenever you move, give me a call, I'll help you. Whatever you want, I'm there for you. And I was like, oh, okay, that's so nice. If that wasn't the case, I found out the hard way when I really needed their help that they would defer our appointments for other days. They wouldn't pick up the phones eventually, and the only ones that stepped in and helped me were the Americans. The people that I didn't know, the people that I thought would try to run over me, were the ones that stepped in, hired me, helped me, became my friends. So, guys, whenever you move in this country, open your minds. You won't regret it. Finally, make sure that you guys move for the right reasons. If you're trying to move in this country to make money, the chances are you will never make enough. What do I mean by that? We talked about taxes before. That's one thing. We talked about the Johnsons trying to follow what everybody else is doing. You will see that the kind of urgency to try to match whatever everybody else is doing is very high here. There's a social pressure. Why are you driving this car? Oh, is that the newest phone? What's that watch you're wearing? And it's funny because they're not paying the same attention to the way they look. They will dress with athletic clothes, but you can see someone in the grocery store that looks like he's dressed like $20 top to bottom, but the shoes alone might be $250. But it's the fashion that is very casual. So you should not try to follow that. Stay focused. If what you want to do is excel in your job, in your field, this is the place to do it. Like if you're genuinely interested in doing that. If you're interested in having a good life with all the freedoms that you can imagine, this is the place to be. If you're trying to be just a positive member in society and have a good quiet life, this is the place to be. And the one thing that I have an asterisk is, and it goes back to blend into with what you see around you, is that I was never aware, at least I shouldn't say aware, but I was never really conscious so much about racial issues. Once I moved to this country, I had people, I always thought, I'm a white dude, I'm from Europe, so I'm white, right? Well, I found out that there's different levels of white. I am olive, so I'm A minus white. That's a whole different subject here, but you will see that all of a sudden things that you never thought about keep coming up to the surface. Minority issues, some people even pick up my accent. And for the most part, it's for a good reason. I mean, I do have an accent, and also it's a positive. People seem to like my accent, but maybe partly because of the way I look. If I had the same accent looking in a different way, I'm not sure it would work the same way. Depending on where you live, of course. But I live in Maryland, so this is a very open society. In any case, there's many things that you need to consider. We will follow up with other videos on specific items and analyze more, but for now, this is an overview. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this very interesting. If you did, give me a thumbs up, and we will follow up with categorized subjects. If you have any questions, leave a comment and I will get back to you. It could be on any subject, from migration, that I have done it, from many types of visas that I have gone through, from student to green cards to whatever. And we will talk about many topics. Thank you so much.